Welcome back to the Roundtable on the IH Sports Network, coming to you live from the C. Michael Lay Technology Center in Helenwood. Got to thank Trophy Masters for the set decorations that you see here. Got to thank Baby J's Pizza for the pizza that they provided that unfortunately, guys, is all gone now. All these players and cheerleaders in here took care of that. I hope you guys ate supper before we got started. Got to thank Greg Bond and the Scott County School System for hosting us tonight. Real quickly before Tim takes off with our legend of the game, let me thank our sponsors of the Roundtable, and those include First National Bank, Twin K Construction, Baby J's Pizza, Plateau Drug Center, and Scott County Pharmacy, Razaks, Mark's Family Pharmacy, El Rey, South Fork Physical Therapy, Tommy's Motorsports, Lori Phillips Jones, and Mountain People's Health Councils. And Tim, I'll let you do the introduction here because you know a lot more about his background. All I know is I told him that I feel like he's played at University of the Cumberlands forever. High school seems like an eternity ago for Logan Stevens.
Got a little of that COVID extra time in there, but Logan from a family of athletes. I mean, I've gotten to see Micah, Sister Micah played basketball, was dominant.
Don't give her too much credit.
Yeah, well, no. She was dominant in basketball and a fiery attitude. If you could keep her off 5 fouls, that was a great thing. And then Logan fiery in high school football. And then I was asking about little sister. I know your little sister was a very good softball player. Didn't realize it had been some time ago as time slips by. But you guys all had 3 different sports, and you all excelled in those 3 different sports. And so I'll ask you, where did that come from?
My mom was, I ain't going to give her too much credit either, but she was a basketball player for Sky High. But, you know, it's just, it's always ran in the family how we've always liked sports. You know, I've just raised up, you know, always in the yard, never really not had a ball in my hand, either on a basketball goal or baseball. That's my favorite sport all around. So, but other than that, it's just always been in my life, in my blood, so.
And, I mean, football is what you excelled the most at because that's what you went collegiately to play. But, I mean, you're an outstanding basketball player for Oneida, too, big presence in the paint. And so, you know, sometimes the wins weren't there during those years. But you know, the football definitely went pretty good. From 2014 to 2017, you were in there. Coach Tony Lambert was there the whole time you were there. Talk about the football culture. Talk about being coached by Coach Lambert in high school and what you remember most about that.
I just remember the camaraderie that we had as a team. You know, we always went out there and played. We always played our butts off. I mean, you know, we not always won every game, but, you know, we was out there. We had that distinct we had PCC. You know, we had pride, class, and character. So we always went out there and played hard. So, but that's what I remember from it. I always took that with me. I take that with me every day in life. I try to go every day as a good person, a good man, you know, hopefully in the future a good father, like he always told us.
So now the first part you talked about haven't always been out in the yard with the football. What is your first football memory, whether it's watching football, playing football? What was it?
I think it came back to middle school whenever we had this thing in 6th grade called House of Pain.
Okay.
Coach Dan King put us through it, and I didn't know if I liked football at the time.
Now, he was assistant.
Yeah, he
in
was.
The middle school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And head coach was Heath Sexton?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell them what House of Pain is.
I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's something they put the 6th graders through whenever the older guys are in the weight room, and we're in there doing 10 sets of 10. Like 10 sets, he goes 10, 9, 8 push-ups, and then he turned to sit-ups, and then you start doing locker stuff. And I didn't think it was for me at the time, and, you know, I was a kid that was just coming off the couch. You know, I was never really in that. I never played storm football, so I was always like that. I was like, oh, man, is this for me? So
what do you think drove you to fight through that urge to say, no, this is not me? What caused the change in that?
I think I had teammates, you know. They were always pushing me through, even though they thought I was faking sometimes. But, you know, I always thank my teammates for always pushing me through something and keeping me in it.
Okay. So middle school, pretty successful years?
3 straight.
3 straight state championships for the middle school level. And you all were running the Nebraska Cornhusker offense for Coach Sexton?
Heck, I don't know what it was. I never could tell where it was, and I knew the play.
So where did you line up?
I was usually the pulling guard. He's the right guard beside the center, and he's a pulling guard. So I could always move. So he put me at the pulling guard position and got me around the line. And then we had a couple injuries in my 8th grade year, so I moved to power tackle. So it's a little foreign to people.
So did you ever do anything but line? Was that all you ever played was the line?
My 8th grade year, he needed a linebacker, and we was up by big, and he didn't know I ran out there. So I ran out there, and I did all right. And then he thought I did all right enough to put me out there the next week against Eagleton whenever they was just a middle school, and absolutely played the worst game of my life. He switched me at halftime.
So experiment was over.
It was done.
All right. So line, pretty much offensive line has been your life. And do you feel like that offensive line has gotten more recognition through the years, or is it still just –
I like how we're doing the alignment of the game now. It's really puts a distinct focus on them. You know, gives them something to play for. You know, you shouldn't be playing for accolades as an offensive lineman. You want to go out there and protect somebody and not get somebody hurt. You know, keep that quarterback's jersey clean. You know, that's just how I've always been. I've never been the type to not want to play offensive line because, you know, it's like not that, but because I always play defensive line too. So, But other than that, that's all. Usually
if a lineman is brought up, it's usually a mistake, a penalty. I mean, really, that's kind of what it is, right?
That's the truth.
Yeah, I mean, you do have pancake blocks and things like that. And, of course, we've got Mark. Mark played the line, so he recognizes some of these things. He was really excited about Cam Cash's play on Friday night.
Too.
Okay, and so now that leads me. You've been working with some of these guys. Tell me about this Oneida offensive line you've been able to spend some time with.
I've tried my best to come around and, you know, just give some knowledge that I have. But as a guy that, you know, played sports, if a guy like me, like where I don't get to come all the time, you know, I'll try not to say too much because I wouldn't respond to that really well. So. But I try to go in there and, like, they'll come up to me and ask me sometimes, and I'll try to give them a little heads up, you know. But, yeah, I mean, they're young. They're really young.
Right.
And I can see that in their play, their feet, their hands. So they've got a long way, and they're going to be pretty stout in the next couple of years.
So you're hoping to not just be drift in every once in a while, though, maybe get a little more solid time with them. That'd be a good thing, right?
Yeah, that would be really good.
Who was, besides Coach Lambert being the head coach, who was your position coach? Who made the biggest difference in your line play in high school, middle school time?
See, I had two O-line coaches and D-line coaches, three. I had Coach Robert Wright. He coached me for my first 2 years, and then I got Coach Billy Barnhart. He came in my junior and senior year, and then Coach Jim Birchfield. He's one that lights a fire under you if you want to.
Still doing it.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, at the middle school. That's three pretty good names to throw out there. What can you nail it down to kind of what was it that they were able to tell you that you wish you had known all along? Was there something that kind of turned a light bulb on that made you a better offensive lineman? That something they preach? Maybe they all three preach the same thing, or just what is the key to being good enough to continue to pursue and move to the next level?
Feet. You got to have good feet. Obviously, the physical aspects come with it, but if you got good feet and you can move fairly well, you're going to be pretty successful at it.
So when you say that, not to get too specific for people, but what does that mean? I mean,
not be able to stumble over yourself. You know, be able to take those right steps, take those right angles. You know, it just comes with the game. Sometimes
it's not as easy as when people yell, block.
Yeah,
they think it's just block.
People that stands like block. It ain't that easy. You know, there's another 300-pound man in front of you. You get out here and do it. I mean,
I know you didn't mean to point at me. Now listen. So in high school, who was somebody that was just the biggest pain to have to deal with on those other teams?
This guy ended up being one of my teammates as an offensive lineman, and his name was Johnny Carroll for Cofield.
Yeah.
And I think of him as a good friend of mine, and he really helped us out my sophomore year. But on the skill side of the ball, has to be Parker McKinney. Every sport I played, he was always there and never really let up. So
yeah, just a gifted. Yeah. Has everything, right?
Yeah.
Took Kentucky to a good game this weekend with EKU.
I can see that.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me your number. What was your number?
70.
And why? How'd you get 70?
See, I wanted 56 because I had that in middle school, but 70 was given to me. TL didn't take no lip from it, so he never gave.
He didn't ask if you wanted it.
He said, "Here, have it." But somebody had 56,
So when you went on to the University of Cumberlands, did you keep 70?
Yeah, I just kept it. They ended up just throwing it at me too because they knew I was number 70. They didn't really ask me if I had a preference or not. So
So they were good with it?
Hmm.
All right. So what was the biggest difference in going from the high school level to that collegiate level? What was the biggest learning curve, the thing that – I mean, you got on the field pretty quick though, right?
Yeah, I started as a freshman.
Yeah. So, I mean, what was it you did well that got you on the field there?
To be honest, I couldn't tell you. I showed up to practice every day and just busted my butt. I had my welcome to college football moment pretty quick.
Yeah.
Against somebody that was really good at defensive end. So I really just learned from that. Just learned and just kept going. I went 100% every day.
So you're at the University of Cumberlands. You're playing college football, and then all of a sudden, one year, you have Coach Lambert back in your life. What was that like?
He let me know about it if I ever lost a block in the practice, but I let him know about it if I demolished one of his defensive linemen. So it was always a back and forth thing, and I always respect Coach Lambert. So
Was it like a gift to have him back for a year to just have that familiarity, or
you could say that.
Yeah, gag gift.
No. It's not something I would recommend.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
no, it's just different, right?
Yeah.
It was a completely different.
I didn't have to worry about it. He was on defense.
Okay, all right. Now, superstitions. A lot of football players have superstitions. Did you have any?
I wore the same. I don't know if I say this on. I wore the same color underwear every game.
Okay.
I mean, it's just I go out and do my walk on the field, and if I don't do that, I just don't feel right. Every away game, I couldn't get there, but.
So you just felt off if you didn't have your routine. More than superstition, it's routine.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you have any teammates that had superstitions that you thought, man, that's just
I never paid attention. I was always just in the
focused.
zone. I never really.
Did you they go around with the earbuds now. Did you do that? Did you have focus music, anything you listened to when you were warming up?
Yeah, everybody gets on to me, but I listen to country music whenever I'm working out or just getting in before a game. So it really calms me down and focuses me up. So
Particular artist?
Zach Bryan.
Zach Brown? All right.
Zach
Bryan.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, have I got a story for you. We got a cameraman that paid over $800
I
to
got
Zach
tickets
Bryan
too.
ticket.
I got tickets too.
You didn't pay that much, though.
I couldn't
Okay, we'll move on. Okay, what about rival in high school? Who was the team that was the rival that you guys wanted to make sure you beat? Cofield.
I think that should be every Oneida kid's thing is Cofield. I know they have the upper hand against us lately, but it started with us in junior year. So.
What about up at the Cumberlands? Was there a rival?
Oh, it was Union, but after we beat them 98-0, it kind of changed the focus towards Lindsey Wilson.
Okay.
I
So
like to throw shots.
were you taking it easy? Was that extra? Were you at 91 and thought, let's do one more?
Oh, I played 2 drives. I don't really know.
Okay. All right. Any coaches that you remember from high school from other teams? Did any coaches get on to you or say anything to you because you were dominating? I mean, and maybe you're driving somebody down near the other sideline. Anybody get on to you?
There was one coach. I don't remember what team it was, but he said something to me, and I probably fired something back at him that I probably don't remember. So
Is he still coaching?
I don't know.
Okay.
I can't remember.
We won't call him out. All right. What about watching the Indians now? What's it like? You don't have any control, and you're just watching them play, and I know you're wishing you could. I see Mark sometimes. It's like he wants to go down there or try to telepathically get something across to him from the press box. What's that like?
I think that second half they came out and played with fire. If they can just start out from snap number 1 with fire, I think they'll be great. I think they lack the consistency of being wound up to be able to play. It shouldn't. I heard one of the kids earlier say, "Oh, if these guys get going, we're going."
Mm-hmm.
What if those guys don't get going? What if they're not playing that game? You got to be that guy. You got to step up yourself. So I think they just need to get some more fire about them. Get some more care into the program. I ain't seen that much lately. So.
Would you want to be a head coach one day?
No.
No?
I don't think I could handle it.
If this was your locker room, Indians are getting ready to hit the field against Polk County Friday night, just a couple of lines that you give them right now, if they were sitting out there and you said, listen.
I don't. I really.
That's not your thing?
That's not me. I'm not a big motivational guy. I'll rip into you if you do bad, but.
Is it impressive, the guys that can do that, like
yeah,
Coach Lambert?
I stutter. I don't know how I haven't stuttered yet, but if I'm fired up, I'll miss words,
okay.
like I just did. But but no, it's other than that, I really Coach Lambert was a very good speaker before a game. My new coach this past year was Coach House. He was really, really well spoken. He really got you fired up too. So that's really.
And they make it look easy.
Yeah.
It's a gift for them, right?
Yeah.
I got a couple more questions. I'm going to give these guys a chance if they got anything they want to ask Logan.
I'd like to ask Logan your advice to a high school player right now that probably has some aspirations that they'd like to play at college level. What advice would you give them as to preparing the body, preparing the mind, what they need to do to have this opportunity at the next level?
Just keep working. Just don't take any days off. But I mean, I ain't got much, but I just know that I worked my butt off to get where I was. I had a knee surgery, so it really brought me back to be able to want to get back. So that's just keep working. No, just don't let up.
I saw you play 2 or 3 games at Cumberlands, and matter of fact, I think I was at one game your freshman year up there, and I was
Reinhardt.
Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, it was Reinhardt that year. And the thing I noticed between the high school level and even to the Cumberlands and the Reinhardts and the Unions, the difference in the speed of the game, it's a zip.
You got guys that can run a 4.3, 4.4 at defense end, and you got to get out there quick. So, yeah, that's probably one of my worst games because they had 4 All-American defensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
And I held up, but it was 2 of my 4 sacks I ever allowed, so.
Hey, only 4 sacks in a career. A plus.
No wonder you were
Yeah.
playing from freshman year. I mean, really.
So I got a comment and a question. From my comment would be, you talked about you had no desire to be a head coach. I kind of see a lot of Heath Sexton mannerisms in you. Am I wrong about that? Can you see Heath Sexton there a little bit?
I mean, it might be lineman mannerism.
It
might be,
yeah, maybe.
But yeah, definitely.
He's had a big step in my career too. I've talked to him a lot.
So my question would be, most kids that go off to college and play ball, they don't stick with it for 4 years, and you stuck with it. Not only did you stick with it for 4 years, you stuck with it for 5 years. And I think, and I'm just going by what I read on Twitter, maybe you didn't know for sure if you were going to come back your 5th year after the coaching change, but you did. So you played 5 years of college ball, and I think the reason most kids don't stick with it is it's a lot more glamorous on paper than it actually is. Talk about the life of a student athlete in college.
You're there 2 to 4 weeks before any student gets there. So that's usually what gets them because they don't have no interaction with anybody but the football team. I never had any problems with that. I don't really care to be around people. But you're up 6 o'clock in the morning, you're 6 to 9, 10 o'clock every day. You're working your butt off 2 a days, workouts, meetings. People they get in there and they get really overwhelmed. Really overwhelmed. I've seen it happen. They ain't the big dogs on campus no more. They get in there and they're like, I went there. I was this. Well, show me. I had to show it. I went in there. I was with a bad taste in my mouth. I wanted to go to Tennessee Tech. That's where I had it, and they dropped my offer. But I went in there with a bad taste in my mouth that I was going to show whoever was in that position that I was going to get put at that I wanted it. So I see a lot of people that get in there and they see somebody, had a 1,000-yard season. And then they're like, they get discouraged. What if that cat gets hurt? So about all.
So I'm going to ask you just a couple more things. One, the different styles of offense that are going on right now, being an offensive lineman. So Oneida's going to be in the shotgun spread Friday night when we go down to Polk County. Polk County is going to line up in the wing tee. Just from pure offensive lineman play standpoint, which would you rather be in? Or does it make a difference? That's just my question.
I went from running the ball a lot in high school, and I really got in to that pass setting, and I kind of like the pass set.
Yeah.
I like to impose my will on a pass set, but obviously as an offensive lineman, you want to run the ball. You want to have that burden on your back. If we ain't running the ball, it's on us. So I'd rather run Oneida's offense.
All right. So I don't know if y'all know, but Mark Matthews is Logan's agent. He got us connected here. That's why Logan's here tonight. Mark Matthews made this interview happen, and I appreciate that. So a shout out to Mark.
You admitted an affiliation with Mark Matthews in
I
public?
I asked for the address here, and he gave me his home address, so I might go there for dinner later. But no, I've known Mark for a long time. He's a really good person to me. He's taught me through high school, so I go to him for mess around with him. So he has something on me I don't really I'll ever never talk about again.
So you guys are both linemen. So and I, Mark and I would watch games. That's how we kind of taught ourselves to call games, and we taught what not. We did what we shouldn't do because we weren't really like the professional announcers, but we kind of backed off of that a little bit. But some things I hear said a lot about offensive linemen, and just a couple of them I wanted to ask you about. Does it bother you when they talk about the big uglies? Why do they call linemen big uglies?
I mean, heck,
you're
we're
good
ugly
with
and
it?
we're big. We're ugly and we're big. You know,
So do you like that? Is it tough? It's a tougher sound. It's
I like
okay.
it. I mean, I think it gives us a good nickname. You know, instead of something else.
Okay, something that's okay. Gotcha. Yeah, it's better than other options, right? Okay, here's the other one that I hear all the time, and they're all the time saying, if you just, when the ball's loose, if you knew what was going on at the bottom of that pile, the things that go on at the bottom of the pile, and they just talk about that all day. What goes on at the bottom of the pile, Logan? Can you tell us on TV?
Probably not live, no.
Oh.
It's pretty bad.
Have you had some of your worst football experiences at the bottom of the pile?
Yeah.
Well, we don't, we're still in prime time, so I guess we probably shouldn't go into too much detail. But everything they say is true.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, and more.
Anything goes, bottom of the pile.
I'm usually the one trying to do something. So.
Logan Stevens, Oneida legend of the game, just an outstanding lineman, both sides, really good basketball player. We, the W's weren't there so much, but it wasn't for lack of trying. And so I thank you, Logan, for coming up and visiting with us this week. And thank Mark for getting you here with us. And best of luck. I think we'll whoever has you coaching them is going to be thankful for it and better off as a player and a person. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Logan, it has been fun watching you. Almost as much fun as watching Micah play back in the day.
I always told her I was going to beat her in points, but I quit halfway through my junior year.
Oh, there you go. So you were on pace to do that.
I was.
Okay. All right. Logan Stevens, former Oneida Indian and University of the Cumberlands Patriot. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. That's going to do it for us from the C. Michael Lake Technology Center in Helenwood. We want to thank Greg Bond and the Scott County School System for hosting us, Leetta Boyd for her help, Trophy Masters for the set decorations, Baby J's Pizza for the pizza, all of our sponsors, and especially all the student athletes who joined us tonight. Remember, Friday night, Oneida at Polk County, Scott High hosting Kingston. Our broadcasts begin with the Baby J Pizza pregame report at 6:30, and we'll see you right back here at the C. Michael Lake Technology Center next Monday at 6 o'clock for another edition of the Roundtable. Thanks for joining us, and good night.
Every Friday night, there's a chance that someone is not going to get up from a play.
Trainers and coaches usually rush out to assist and diagnose what has happened and whether or not increased medical attention is necessary.
Through the years, we've seen medical personnel assist a player from the field with extreme caution to prevent any further damage. We've seen EMTs and ambulances called to action to administer proper medical attention.
Never have we seen these professionals say, just get up, get over it. You just need to toughen up.
Unfortunately, many people respond to mental health issues in just this way.
It can be others or the victim themselves overlooking the importance of seeking counselors, support, and resources necessary to win the battle over mental health.
We have all had our own battles and are here to say, seek help.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance crisis, don't wait. Free, confidential, compassionate support is just a call away. Text or chat 988.
You will quickly be connected to trained crisis counselors who will listen to your concerns, provide support, and connect you to additional resources if needed.
There is hope. The Lifeline works. You are not alone in this crisis. For 24/7 confidential support, just call, text, or chat 988.